We, the people of Wajir South and Habswain, are mainly pastoralists. That means our families take care of goats, cattle, and camels for their livelihood. We all survive by eating their meat and drinking their milk. I have heard grown-up people say that we here in northeastern Kenya live in one of the poorest places in the world. I don't know because I've lived here all my life, but what I can tell you is that there are few government services here. There's only one hospital, few roads, none of them are tarmacked, and only a few homes have electricity. What is normally very scarce and precious here is water. Most of us do not have water in our houses. We have to walk sometimes a whole day's journey to fetch water for our homes and animals. The weather here is very dry and normally it rains twice a year. All of us here depend on the rains from these weeks to provide us water for the whole year. Not only for ourselves, but for our animals as well. Every once in a while, the rains do not deliver enough water or do not come at all. When this happens, it is a disaster of epic proportions and everyone suffers, especially us children.
In 2010-11, a drought crisis, a food security crisis that affected not just Kenya but the whole Horn of Africa region, really badly affected by shortages of rain, which led to food insecurity, shortages of food, and of course children were the worst affected populations. The malnutrition rates were increasing sharply. We were seeing an increase in the numbers of children that were dying and that were suffering the effects of hunger. So we really launched a large-scale program working with the Ministry of Health and other partners on the ground. So we had emergency water and sanitation programs, health programs, nutrition programs. We were providing what we call blanket supplementary feeding programs to children at the very height of the crisis. And thankfully, we're in 2013, the situation has really much improved. A lot of our emergency programs have come to an end now, but with the funding that we received through Japan Platform, we're able to continue to work with children, continue to work with the communities to better understand what were the causes of that crisis, the food insecurity that came with it. Why was it the case that water sources ran out so quickly? What was it that caused the food insecurity in the local community? And so really we're focusing now on working with children primarily as well as getting them to investigate and reflect on some of those issues and think what can we do to improve their resilience? What can we do so that if there's a food crisis, a drought next year or the year after, in Wajir, in Habswain, how can we be better prepared for that situation? What action can we take now that will either mitigate against the effects of that food crisis or to actually prevent it happening at all?
Japan Platform was established in order to respond to any type of the emergency, including natural disaster or war. Our project will be dealing with a disaster response and then disaster risk reduction education among the children. It's a very unique initiative in Kenya because we really engage children as a center of our project. We established 13 school clubs among the 13 schools for the children's club for learning about disaster and then learning how to mitigate those impacts in their daily life.
We targeted 13 schools and we had 2 clubs, one for health club and one for DRR club, disaster risk reduction club. So the disaster risk reduction club, we started with training the teachers first. We introduced the program to the teachers and the education officers. When we trained the teachers is when now we took the program to the schools and introduced it to the schools. Introduction of the DRR concept, capacity analysis, vulnerability analysis, community mapping, school mapping, whereby they'll draw the map of their school, they'll identify the resources within their school compound, the risky areas within their school compound, Likewise, there's community mapping also, where they identify the resources around their community, like the roads, the health facility, the school, the water points, and then they'll identify the risk areas within the community also. For example, the shallow wells, the water pans, the roads are also risky because they just pass anywhere, they're not planned, so the children may get accidents.
That is why I joined the DRR club in my school. DRR stands for Disaster Risk Reduction. It's a club where we discuss, investigate, and plan the activities that can affect us children should there be a disaster like a flood or drought.
magacayga maxaa la dhahaa Faarax Ibraahim Xasan iskuulka la dhahaa Kursi Primary School aan ku jira galaaska 7 maxaan soo galay DRR member maxaan ku jiray DRR member maxaan sanadka 2012 soo galay maxaan ka baranay waxa la dhahaa body mapping, community mapping, school mapping inaan ka baranay.
That knowledge which the children, the teachers were imparted came into the school. The teacher now imparted the same knowledge to the pupils. That was not enough. Save the Children officials made a follow-up. They also give lectures, some sessions, in some parts of the week they came, and then that was a supplementary, which was equivalent with that knowledge now.
Actually, our teachers gave us seeds like watermelon, one we call it trere, spinach, and kale. So we prepared in the school land. When we prepared there, we got the skills and how to prepare the garden. Our teachers gave us some seeds. Personally, I tried to plant. It was watermelon and trere. The trere is not doing well, but actually the watermelon, it is now growing very well actually. This is the watermelon that I planted a few days ago. I planted here so that it may do well to get shade from these trees. And now it is, as you see, it is doing very well. Now, why I had covered this thing is that it may prevent loss of water. We call it respiration. Loss of water, that's what our teacher told us.
Some children took the idea very fast because for them they're innocent. You introduce something new to a child, the child gets it faster than the older person. So what the children did was, like, for example, you'll find in some places they have done a community forum where they invited their parents and everyone else in the community who could attend within their school compound. And then they had an action day where they would introduce the whole program to the parents and the community. And then they'll do role plays, they'll have drama, they have poems of what DRR is, how to reduce these risks. And they were disseminating the message to the community.
The best part of the DRR club was when the vegetables were ready. We held a party at school. We prepared the vegetables we had grown, cooked, and ate them. It was amazing, as before, many of us did not know what it takes to grow these foods. Now we know that when it rains or when there is a little source of water, we can grow vegetables and things like beans that can be stored and eaten during the dry season. Another activity of the DRR clubs in our school is hygiene awareness. Here we investigate the many ways us children can avoid getting sick and passing on diseases to each other.
Because of our lifestyle, and even if you look at the town currently now, there are some people who may not have toilets, and they use the open. DRR hygiene training were conducted in 2 levels, one for the teachers and students. So you will find that now the families, because of the message that they got from their children, now some of them were even extending and learning to use the toilets neighboring them for the school.
activities they do are very many, like hand washing. This was a project which Save the Children started. The materials are there. Enough materials were provided by Save the Children. The children were trained, and this process is ongoing. Some specific members of the health clubs are training the other members of the school, even the community, the locals around, on how to wash the hands. The procedure is very long. The children are well acquainted with. Now that process is there.
Watoto wakienda kwa msituni hata hapana chukua na maji. Naenda tu naingia na darasani. Mkono ikiwa na chafu. Sisi watoto wetu ni watoto wa 6. Mimi tu niko na DRR club member. Wengine hawako. Sasa mimi nimewaambia watoto wengine vile ya kuosha na mkono. Sabun mesh safi tale soo qaadana. Gacmaha sabunta marin mar gacmaha marka sabun marsad sabun mesh meel saafiya saa u saaran saana la marar markii saana la haddana saana la dhihi haddana saana la dhihi haddana saana la dhihi gacmaha marada way u soqoto sana dia heri.
Nani alikuonyesha vile kufanya hivyo? Dadako hapa alionyesha? Ndio. Alikuchapa ndio ujue?
Ndio.
Children have taken this message of disaster risk reduction by assisting the community in various forms. At least they are able now to realize that they have a greater role to play in trying to assist the community.
All too often children are seen as the victims of a crisis. They're seen as the beneficiaries of interventions, whereas actually Save the Children very strongly believes that children can be part of the solution, and that if you ask children to participate in the process of planning and understanding the problems that affect them, or sometimes they're the very best people to be coming up with solutions.
We are witness here is a great example how children can change the world. They adopted a new idea, they're taking this new idea very enthusiastically, so they really love to teaching those new ideas to their sisters and brothers. So we also witnessing how children is changing their behavior pattern. So we believe in our small project we started here as a tiny seed which can grow as a big tree in the future in Kenya.
Our parents and their parents before them did not do many of the things we learned in our DRR clubs. They did not have a plan of what to do when it floods or when the rains fail. We want all members of our society to change and know that we are not helpless. We want them to listen to us, to support us, and to work with us to make our world a better place. We, the children of Wajir and Bas Weyne, we see, we hear, we feel, we act and fight against disaster.